Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's realistic review in which we are taking a look at the Israeli Mystere 4A sitting at 8.7 battle rating in rank 6 Israeli. A plane that has both upsides and downsides. We know it a little bit from the French tree, and this plane has always been a little bit iffy. It is quite a mixed bag at 8.7 battle rating. It can do certain things well, it can do other things not so well. We'll get into that. A lot what you experience in this rank is up tiers these days. So the Mystere is going to be sitting at 8.7, 8.3 ish a lot of the time, unfortunately, and it's going to be a little bit limited there because of its speed and because of the lack of missiles in this plane. But apart from that, there has been joyous moments. You can definitely make this plane work at the battle rating if you're a little bit careful and you're quite disciplined in your decision making. It can be quite decent in close quarters, although it does lose speed quite significantly, and it's hard to regain the speed in this plane as it is a little bit underpowered, but we'll get into that with more detail. This plane does have a gun radar. Does not work very well. You can only turn it on and off. It's in the right bottom part there of the screen, the little green thingy, as you know. It doesn't seem to work. It doesn't do anything. I've tried to put it on and off, that works, but for the rest it doesn't do anything. The plane also does not have an afterburner, so the speed that you can gain from using the plane just with 100% is the top speed. You don't get that extra bit of power that an afterburner can provide you in a difficult situation, so that's unfortunate. What it does have is a good air brake, and the air brake is actually quite powerful. So combined with the great roll rate that this plane has, this plane can definitely be good in defensive maneuvers, force the overshoot, and then put those great 30mm cannons to work, which can definitely make the overshoot very lethal. And that's basically what you want in this plane, so there is that. The plane also has a lot of ordnance, so that is a nice feature as well, but unfortunately, as I said, no missiles in the missile age. Let's get into the detail of this plane, shall we? But before we get into the details, do not forget to smash the like button, leave me a comment, that helps the channel out immensely. And if you are not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button and get into this channel, be part of the community, and don't miss a video. Alright, the maximum speed in this plane at sea level is 1105 kilometers an hour. At 4500 meters she'll go up to 861, and at 6500 meters you can get her to 758. This is in indicated airspeed and no afterburner, of course. So in a dive the plane is actually quite nice. The top speed in a dive is 1108 kilometers an hour before she redlines, and 1200 before she rips apart. Now that is a 92 kilometers an hour window you have there, and that is about average in War Thunder. Also for most jets the rip speed and the redline lie about 100 kilometers an hour apart. Some have a little bit more, then they're better than average. Some have less, then they're worse than average. But this one sits at about average for that, and that is actually quite good. With the acceleration that this plane has, which is actually not very great, this plane does feel a little bit underpowered. You do have quite a bit of a window there. So no problems in a dive. The handling in a dive is also great, with the control stiffening only kicking in at around 850 kilometers an hour for the first tick in the aileron compression, and then at 950 you get a little second tick, but the roll rate stays great, or at least very good, until the very end of the dive where you rip apart. So it's definitely possible to get that fantastic 30mm DEFA guns on target in a dive. It does roll better at the end of the dive than many of the planes that you'll face. And the handling in that dive is absolutely marvelous. So there is that. The only problem might be with speed in the speed department. So getting close to enemy planes, if they are in the dive way before you, they probably will have better acceleration than you, and they might extend fairly quickly, so the window for your shot might be a little bit close. The stall speed in this plane is 140, which is slightly above average, and that also has to do with the engine power, the thrust that you have in this plane. Firepower though is excellent. You have those two 30mm DEFA 552 cannons with 150 rounds per gun. I use the air target belt for these flyouts, and I just have to recommend you with these guns, the DEFA 552s, the air target belt has high explosive filler in every shell, so they are absolutely lethal with the air belt. With the stealth belt you get 50% AP round, with the default belt you get 50% AP round, and with the ground target belt you get 66% AP rounds. Now for the ground target belt that's expected. With the stealth belt you get the functionality of the surprise factor, but the default round for me is not viable because of the 50% AP round. If you want APs you can use ground belt, if you want surprise you can use the stealth belt, and if you want the most damaging belt you get the air target belt in this plane. As I said, the plane also has bombs, rockets and combos between those two. Combine that with the ground targets belt and you have a great plane for ground RB. I think this plane, the Mystere, can actually be quite strong in ground RB. Of course I don't play it myself, let me know in the comments if you use it there, but I think it can be quite nice there. It can dogfight quite well, and it has great guns, and it has a lot of ordnance you can place on it, so I'm assuming it can be quite good there. Yeah, so that's for the firepower. Decent ammo loads with those 150 rounds, not terrible like the Soviets sometimes, 80 rounds, 90 rounds. Also not 200 rounds like some other nations have in their cannon equipped planes. And also not like the Americans with the smaller calibers, huge amounts of ammo, but 150, it's decent. The problem in this plane is the performance. The acceleration in a straight line is below average. In a dive it's only average. And the energy retention both in the horizontal and the vertical is no more than decent. This plane does not perform very well at 8.7 when it comes to engine power. And it feels a little bit underpowered, to be fair. If you lose speed, which you do lose a lot of speed with extended turning, unfortunately. That also makes your dogfighting window not too long. 5-6 turns is good, but if you can drop a little bit of altitude during the dogfight to keep your speed off, that is also good. But at a certain point, certainly below 400 kilometers an hour, really the dogfighting skills go down a little bit, that's for sure. So you have to be careful there, and then to regain that speed is very difficult in this plane. The climb rate in the plane is also no more than decent. You have good turn time though, very good with flaps. The flaps only rip off at 740, which is decent in this plane. It's about 2/3 of its total speed where they rip off. That's nice. Roll rate is great, as I said, it's one of its main strengths. Combined with that air brake, it can be excellent in forcing overshoots, which is very nice to have in jets, as you get surprised sometimes. Maneuverability is very good, a little bit less than that. Let's call it decent when it's slower. Overheating in this plane is not an issue. I've not had any overheating issues with this plane, and if I did get to the amber, I could really cool it down very quickly. So this plane does not have any overheating issues. Durability in the plane is solid apart from the fuel. The fuel tanks, the fuel tank fires can happen a little bit more regular than in most jets, because the fuel tanks are really spread throughout this plane. The fuselage is full of them, and the wings are full of fuel tanks as well. And yeah, it can be a little bit of a fire pinata, but sometimes you're lucky as well. And if you just get normal damage, the plane handles that normal damage actually quite good. It can definitely take a few hits, but yeah, those fires are dangerous in this plane. The research cost in this plane is 10,695 Silver Lions. I've looked around at all the other planes at 8.7. That is about average. You have those terrible planes in there that are above 20k, you have 15k. There's a lot of planes that are more expensive, but there's also many planes that are cheaper. So this plane I would call it about average. The rewards in this plane: 449% multiplier for the research points, and 465% multiplier for the Silver Lions. The research point multiplier, almost 450%, is actually quite good. It's actually higher than most planes that you'll find at 8.7. The Silver Lion multiplier though is only about average, but average is not too bad in the Israeli line. Many of the Silver Lion multipliers are not that great so far in the Israeli line, so yeah, it's actually good to have. That is nice. So as to the flight style of this plane, she can definitely be used in the close air support role. That is fair. I mean, and in ground RB, that role is more suitable, of course, as that is close air support for the planes flying there. In air RB, you can go ground pounding as well in this plane. It does have a lot of options. There are many columns driving around. I would not call it a base bomber, but you can definitely go column vehicle hunting in this plane if you want. If you get shot down that way, as you're, I mean, that's always an option, of course, so it doesn't have my recommendation. My preferred playstyle in this plane is a boom and zoom, boom and run roll, coming from the fringes and just being disciplined in the plane. She really needs that, as she has too many downsides to work. Here, this MiG-21 coming from altitude just outturns me like the compression, fuck compression, and no problem, we'll just outturn you. There's no problem. She can also turn fight a little bit, but yeah, be careful of losing too much speed while you turn fight. I'll see you in the conclusion. Hey guys, so here we are after the match. As I said, the Mystere is a little bit of a mixed bag. It can definitely be made to work. It does have some functions that you can definitely use it for. The close air support role, a disciplined boom and zoom role, coming from the fringes and helping teammates out, focusing on planes that are focused on others is good. You can turn fight in it, so with a few turns you can definitely surprise people and get them. If you get too slow, it's difficult to build the speed up, and extended dogfights, of course, are very risky in the jet age. I mean, the distances are less, give you less time because of the high speeds involved, especially in the amount of up tiers that this plane faces to 9.7. There's many planes with a lot of speed under their belt that can just get you as you dogfight at around 450 kilometers an hour, and you'll make an easy target for them. So you always got to be careful with that. But you do have that under your belt if you have to dogfight. She can do a very good job in that. The plane is fantastic in defensive flying with the roll rate and the good air brake that it has. So defensive flying can be quite fun in this plane. So yeah, that is it for this plane. I can definitely find, I definitely found that I could make it work. I have over 2.5 to 1 kill death ratio, but it is definitely not an excelling plane. It is subpar, and it is a little bit underpowered, unfortunately. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.